Um, this is really, truly an honor to be asked to speak today at Paramount's first Global Disability Summit. So thank you for having me. I would like to start by mentioning a quote from Robert M. Hensel, who is the Guinness Book of World Record holder for the longest wheelchair wheelie at over 6 miles. And he said, "There is no greater disability in society than the inability to see a person as more." For more than a century in our industry, we have seen tremendous changes in how we make film and television. Since the Warner Brothers fire in 1952, which was also battled by actors at the time, Burt Lancaster and Ray Bolger, the Scarecrow, no less, stay away from fire. Since that time, we've seen changes in the way sets handle fire safety with the addition of studio fire marshals. Over the years, we've added set medics, police support on location shoots, catering, stunt coordinators, intimacy coordinators, HR offices with seminars to address sexual harassment, abuse of power dynamic, and discriminatory practices. And more recently, we've added COVID protocol teams. These are adaptations our industry has made for the sake of creating our art in the safest, most productive, inclusive, and understanding environment. And all these changes ultimately have proven to be most cost effective. Over that 100 plus years, we've seen gradual changes in representation on screen with the objective of creating more realistic and authentic representations of women, of people of color, and LGBTQ. This objective has had a snowball effect in recent years with the formation of diversity, equity, and inclusion departments at every major studio and network. We've watched how these changes have an overreaching societal effect. One such result is now, effectively, every other industry has taken this cue from showbiz, and they're doing the same kind of thing. And so we're now at a place where those traditionally marginalized groups that I spoke of are gaining equal opportunity and access to on-screen roles. Our authentic portrayals and storytelling have, over the years in the history of film and television, influenced opinions, diminished ignorance, created allies, altered policy. We did that. That's what art can do. Our industry stresses this objective to the point where a film or television show's success hinges on these representations. There is immediate response from audiences when they get it right. We've seen that. On the other hand, if access or representation is anything less than authentic, there can be backlash that affects the bottom line. So the importance of these conversations is not just a moral imperative, it's a business imperative. The most marginalized group, 22 to 25% of the population, people with disability. Through most of my career, I've tried to understand this and change this and eliminate the prejudices, at least the ones that I was aware of about myself, erase tropes, change the rhetoric, question the lack of allyship, and ask that policy and practice include artists and craftspeople with disability. By putting authentic storytellers in the writer's room as the actors playing the role, as directors, as editors, as crew, as publicists, we are not only erasing the negative impact of all these outdated models of disability and the tropes they create, we are adding advocates to the space to ensure that persons with disability not be required to be the sole advocate pushing back against those stereotypes and inauthentic portrayals in that critical moment where they fear the choice is between losing the job or losing their self-respect. So what are the tough questions? It comes down to 3 big elephants. What are the costs of accessibility? Where is the talent? How do we engage? Where is the talent? If we can't find the talent, we aren't really looking. There are dozens of resources. For example, the CSA National Talent Search by former CSA President Russell Boast, the Inevitable Foundation, 1 in 4 Coalition, Exceptional Minds, Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge, Lights Camera Access, Terry, Nick, ADA Lead On Productions, Alpha Studios, Meet the Biz, David Zimmerman, Talent Agents, KMR, and C Talent. The list goes on. One example, and I know we've already mentioned it, but CBS made the distinction to include disability in their diversity showcase because they adhere to the idea that disability is diversity. Not every diversity program does include disability. And this can be damaging because rhetoric, in my view, leads to policy. Policy becomes law, as has been the case in some state laws backed by our industry designed to change the employment disparity in some marginalized groups, but have chosen to exclude disability. I said, our community can't get to your level until we increase the opportunity and have equal access. To end around that obstacle, I asked Brian to commit to casting 3 disabled actors in speaking parts when a lead in his film is a non-disabled actor in a disabled role, 3-to-1. I call this the Woodburn ratio. And why not? For every 1 non-disabled actor in a disabled role, a production must commit to casting 3 disabled actors in speaking roles. 5 years ago, I brought the Ruderman Family Foundation to Hollywood to hold the Ruderman Roundtable on Disability, meeting with those task force members and leading to numerous studios to sign the commitment to audition and cast disabled actors, signed first by CBS. And today, we are at the Paramount Global Summit on Disability because the call to engage has been heard. And we are finally really at the table. And more importantly, we are wanted at the table. It is understood that our engagement matters for the bottom line, sure. But what we do here today and moving forward will change perceptions globally. That's what this business of show has a history of doing, depicting the changes that we strive for as an ever-evolving and compassionate culture. What we've learned about race, gender, sexual identity, cultural identity, and erasure, and now disability has been prompted by artists. These benefits to our society, our humanity, are going to be icing on the cake. I thank you. I thank CBS. I thank Paramount and the Paramount Global Summit on Disability.